Thank you. I'm not only the last to speak on the topic, but I probably happen to be the only discussant who comes from landlocked country that barely has a direct interest in the fisheries agreement, except depositing the instrument of agreement in WTO and increasing the numbers that ratify the agreement. And also thanks to WCP chair in Taipei, I happened to moderate one session since I didn't have any self-interest, probably that was impartial. So thank you for the opportunity. Since it is only 3 minutes, I would like to focus on only three things. One, now we are working more on narratives than data. We don't have very credible data on anything. Mainly on the artisanal fisheries and then the livelihood of those poor communities, which has become a more kind of a bone of contention from reaching an agreement on Phase 2 session of the deliberations. As way out, I have got the three suggestions. Let's look into the alternatives in a disaggregated way. First of all, let's not try to put all eggs in the single basket. So one is the alternative to artisan fishing community who have for generation earned their livelihood for this. So it is not only enough to instruct the governments whether there should be subsidy or not. It is something different. Second, very paradoxical, is the investment of the private sector for industrial fishing and protection by the governments on that. So this is it has not happened in many other areas. So we probably have not in entire process disaggregated those data and looked into this perspective, the protecting the private sector interest by the public sector for profit making. So that is one area. There are indirect subsidies are more pronounced, like in infrastructure, in the building of the port facilities, and more important, the large subsidy provider countries we talked about. There is also, we have not looked into the big cartel of the market of the fish that is sold after fishing. So I think we also need to look into that aspect of it. So yes, they are not only industrial fishing countries, but if they decide to stop the export of that fish product in an illegal way, I think that should be the solution, I guess. The last point I want to make is connecting. Many other friends have raised the issue. Connecting this issue of saving the marine biology, saving biodiversity, and not connecting it to the overall context of the climate change and the biodiversity conservation and the conservation of the endangered species. For example, how this WTO effort and then the fisheries agreement, including with those sunset clauses which are going to be ineffective with time if this kind of disagreement continues, connecting with the UNCCC type apparatus. They not only the WTO ministerial meeting. What about this series of conference of parties on climate, and then the importance of marine biodiversity is so huge, and probably that connection would be very critical. I said final, but the final point is again coming back to the livelihood of the certain communities. We should not only blaming the countries that have got literally millions of those fishermen who have their surname comes as an identity of a fisherman in many of the countries. So it is not only of the economics; it's the cultural, social aspect of it. So I think the human rights component connected to this ruthless kind of unfair subsidies by the bigger nation is very critical. So ultimate final is, which is more powerful? Are these agreements or the one executive order signed by a head of the state of one very powerful country? So how can we enforce these agreements even if we reach into some kind of conclusion is another critical issue that needs to be discussed. Thank you so much.